Indo. Indo.
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. There's not the right scene. We're gonna find the right scene. There we go. Welcome back, everybody. Hold on, let me get my life together. Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome back, Rumble X. You are still broken. We tried. So, we're just live on Rumble, live on YouTube. That is good. That is all good. A lot of you been following me for a long time, especially if you're watching on YouTube, which nobody currently is. Do you remember this is what I used to do? Like, this was my mainstay. Read the insightful thing, and give the retard's opinion. This shouldn't be any different. I was gonna do this one quite some time ago, but at the very time I wanted to do it, my good friend at the time, Divinity, did it with her Canadian Nova and kinda killed the vibe for me. But there was a lot of shit, I think, that they left unsaid. So I figured I'd hit it myself at some point and say all my things. Completely different perspective. Sup, Froggo? Welcome to the show. If y'all don't know my good friend Cool Frog here, you go check him out. He's got 1,000,000,000,000 followers more than I do. He's a real celebrity. I am an industrial level disgrace by comparison. But I do alright for myself. Oh, let me see this thing over here. Okay. So everything looks like it's in its proper place. That means I can go ahead, light this joint. because the sponsors have been shilled. We are hashtag not sponsored. But we are hashtag promoted, so if you like what we do here, via the community, my friends, share it with your friends. Or something. I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to tell people what I'm into because I don't want them to try to get into it too. It's none of their business. So, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Kind of floored me when I read it because you are taught, you are conditioned all throughout your life to give a fuck about this, to give a fuck about that, to worry about a whole bunch of shit that doesn't matter. And in today's day and age, I see people who are conditioned to absolutely give the most fucks about the stupidest, like, most ridiculous shit. The type of shit that when people had real problems, we never would have even gave a second thought to, much less a fuck about, for fuck's sake. But I think part of being conditioned to give so many fucks is partly in part due to if you give a whole bunch of shit about what's not important, then you won't focus on what is, and that's a conditioning program. Oh well, well. Hello, small mousin. Good to see you. I'm glad you're listening. This one's gonna be fun. Not gonna lie. Glad to see you're listening on Rumble too. For those of you who do follow my YouTube and who will see this both now and in the after now, the Rumble channel is where most of my going ons go on. And it's DarthHideous on Rumble. It's pretty easy to find. I would definitely recommend, just in case YouTube ever decides that I have said some inappropriate shit, and I can just change the rules and make what I say inappropriate at any point in time. They might just get rid of me, so definitely best to track me where I'm actually doing some growing and not some channel death. That'd be great. I still love my people on YouTube, and I still wish people would do subscribe, even though I say unsubscribe. That's a joke. But anyway, I got a book to read, at least a chapter of. This is a 9 chapters book. It's not super long. I figure a chapter a sitting will probably be sufficient. And like I said, counterintuitive approach to living a good life. The subtle art of not giving a fuck by Mr. Mark Manson, who is absolutely brilliant philosopher of our time. You want to check him out, and I would definitely recommend acquiring this book, giving it to somebody who cares way too much about a bunch of stupid shit. Anyway, this is our first chapter. This is what we'll be diving into today. Chapter 1, Don't Try. which is broken up into 3 subparts: the feedback loop from hell, the subtle art of not giving a fuck. And so, Mark, what is the point of this book anyway? It's a good question. Hey, Clumsy, thank you. Good to see you. It's weird to be live on YouTube, especially at this hour of day. But we do it. Don't try is an interesting concept to me. Charles Bukowski was an alcoholic, a womanizer, a chronic gambler, a lout, a cheapskate, a deadbeat, and on his worst days, a poet. He's probably the last person on earth you would ever look to for life advice or expect to see in any sort of self-help book. Which is why he's the perfect place to start. Bukowski wanted to be a writer, but for decades his work was rejected by almost every magazine, newspaper, journal, agent, and publisher he submitted to. His work was horrible, they said. Crude, disgusting, depraved. And as the stacks of rejection slips piled up, the weight of his failures pushed him deep into an alcohol-fueled depression that would follow him for most of his life. Lady Autumn Sky dropping by to say hi. Good to see you, my dear. Lady Autumn Sky, do you follow my Rumble channel? I feel like you do. I just don't ever see you over on the Rumble side of things. You might have missed the disclaimer announcement a few minutes ago. Bukowski had a day job as a letter filer at a post office. He got paid shit money and spent most of it on booze. That's a story all too familiar, isn't it? He gambled away the rest of it at the racetrack. Oofed. At night he would drink alone and sometimes hammer out poetry on his beat-up old typewriter. Often he'd wake up on the floor, having passed out the night before. 30 years went by like this, most of it a meaningless blur of alcohol, drugs, gambling, and prostitutes. Then, when Bukowski was 50, after a lifetime of failure and self-loathing, an editor at a small independent publishing house took a strange interest in him. The editor couldn't offer Bukowski much money or much promise of sales, but he had a weird affection for the drunk loser, so he decided to take a chance on him. It was the first real shot Bukowski had ever gotten, and, he realized, probably the only one he would ever get. Bukowski wrote back to the editor, "I have one of two choices: stay in the post office and go crazy, or stay out here and play at writer and starve. I have decided to starve." What's up, Castro? And Small Mouse on YouTube. Upon signing the contract, Bukowski wrote his first novel in 3 weeks. It was called simply Post Office. In the dedication he wrote, "Dedicated to nobody." I mean, 'cause fuck 'em, that's why. Bukowski would make it as a novelist and a poet. He would go on and publish 6 novels and hundreds of poems, selling over 2 million copies of his books. His popularity defied everyone's expectations, particularly his own. Stories like Bukowski's are the bread and butter of our cultural narrative. Bukowski's life embodies the American dream. A man fights for what he wants, never gives up, and eventually achieves his wildest dreams. It's practically a movie waiting to happen. We all look to stories like Bukowski's and say, see, he never gave up. He never stopped trying. He always believed in himself. He persisted against all the odds and made something of himself. It is then strange that on Bukowski's tombstone, the epitaph reads, Don't try. Miami Spice, good to see you. It's been a long time, my dear. Go back and watch the disclaimer about how everything's on Rumble now and how don't even exist in YouTube anymore. Because he didn't really try, did he? See, despite the book sales and the fame, Bukowski was a loser. He knew it, and his success stemmed not from some determination to be a winner, but from the fact that he knew he was a loser, accepted it, and then wrote honestly about it. He never tried to be anything other than what he was. The genius in Bukowski's work was not in overcoming unbelievable odds or developing himself into a shining literary light. It was the opposite. It was his simple ability to be completely, unflinchingly honest with himself, especially the worst parts of himself, and to share his failings without hesitation or doubt. This is the real story of Bukowski's success. His comfort with himself as a failure. Bukowski didn't give a fuck about success. Even after his fame, he still showed up to poetry readings hammered and verbally abused people in his audience. Still exposed himself in public and tried to sleep with every woman he could find. Fame and success didn't make him a better person, nor was it by becoming a better person that he became famous and successful. Self-improvement and success often occur together, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're the same thing. Our culture today is obsessively focused on unrealistically positive expectations. Oh boy. Stop you right there. It's that quote from that movie, Fight Club, right? Be happier, be healthier, be the best, better than the rest, be smarter, faster, richer, sexier, more popular, more productive, more envied, and more admired. Be perfect and amazing, and crap out 12-karat gold nuggets before breakfast each morning while kissing your selfie-ready spouse and 2.5 kids goodbye. Then fly your helicopter to a wonderfully fulfilling job where you spend your days doing incredibly meaningful work that's likely to save the planet one day. But when you stop and really think about it, conventional life advice, all the positive and happy self-help stuff we hear all the time is actually fixating on what you lack. What is the Fight Club quote? Advertising has us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate to buy shit we don't need. It lasers in on what you perceive your personal shortcomings and failures to already be, and then emphasizes them for you. You learn about the best ways to make money because you feel you don't already have enough money. You stand in front of the mirror and repeat affirmations saying that you're beautiful because you feel as though you're not beautiful already. Don't ever let them tell you you ain't beautiful. They can all get fucked. Just stay true to you. Eminem, I think. You follow dating and relationship advice because you feel that you're unlovable already. I mean, maybe you just already know that and you don't give a fuck anymore. You try goofy visualization exercises about being more successful because you feel as though you aren't successful enough already. But, I mean, when you break that down, why do you feel like you're less than? Why do you feel like uh yeah, Eminem I think. Oh, why do you feel like you're less than anything because something told you to feel that way? Like you've been conditioned, and in modern culture it's the worst it's ever been. If you're not this, you're that. If you're not what I tell you to be, you are less than. And that is the dumbest fucking thing. Ironically, this fixation on the positive, on what's better, what's superior, only serves to remind us over and over again of what we are not, of what we lack, of what we should have been but failed to be. After all, no truly happy person feels the need to stand in front of a mirror and recite that she's happy. She just is. Yeah, they don't need to tell you, they just be that way. There's a saying in Texas, the smallest dogs bark the loudest. I mean, that's not really a saying in Texas. I think that's a saying, like, pretty much universally speaking. A confident man doesn't feel a need to prove that he's confident. A rich woman doesn't feel a need to convince anybody that she's rich. Either you are or you are not. And if you're dreaming of something all the time, then you're reinforcing the same unconscious reality over and over that you are not that. But do you need to be that, and why do you need to be that? That's not a thing that anybody needs to be. Or maybe you desperately can't live without being that thing, then you should put all your effort into doing that then. But that's usually going to lead you down a path of fucking reckless self destruction. Everyone and their TV commercial wants you to believe that the key to a good life is a nicer job, or a more rugged car, or a prettier girlfriend, or a hot tub with an inflatable pool for the kids. The world is constantly telling you that the path to a better life is more, more, more. Buy more, own more, make more, fuck more, be more. You are constantly bombarded with messages to give a fuck about everything all the time. Give a fuck about a new TV. Give a fuck about having a better vacation than your coworkers. Give a fuck about buying that new lawn ornament. Give a fuck about having the right kind of selfie stick. Why? My guess. Because giving a fuck about more stuff is good for business. Yeah, yeah, it is. Because you don't give a fuck about this stuff, they can't sell you this stuff. They can't extract. They can't extract your wealth with this shit. And while there's nothing wrong with good business, the problem is that giving too many fucks is bad for your mental health. It causes you to become overly attached to the superficial and fake, to dedicate your life to chasing a mirage of happiness and satisfaction. The key to a good life is not giving a fuck about more, it's giving a fuck about less. A fuck about only what is true, and immediate and important. That's not one thing, that's three things. True, immediate, important. Make a note here because it bears repeating. Because things might be true and they might be immediate, but they might not be important. So don't give a fuck about them. And they might be immediate and important, but they might not be true. Don't give a fuck about them. You see where I'm going with this. Make a note of the three pillars here of the true, immediate, and important. Because if they're not all of these things, then they're none of these things. Fake it till you make it, Castro? No. No, don't. I mean, you can, I guess. Some people have. I've seen it fucking literally go down. But, man, you really, really got to get it in to fake it till you make it. Man, I got to fix my Rumble bot and make it say not the Discord link, but just that the Discord link is in the description of the video so that people can just go to the description of the video and click on the damn link. Stupid Rumble bot. Wait a minute. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you can click on that link. Never mind. Never mind what I just said. Anywho. The feedback loop from hell. There's an insidious quirk to your brain that, if you let it, can drive you absolutely batty. Tell me if this sounds familiar to you. You get anxious about confronting somebody in your life. That anxiety cripples you and you start wondering why you're so anxious. Now you're becoming anxious about being anxious. Oh no, double anxious. Now you're anxious about your anxiety, which is causing more anxiety. Quick, where's the whiskey? Well, let's say you have an anger problem. Ugh, this one always felt like it was personally attacking me. You get pissed off at the stupidest, most inane stuff and you have no idea why. And the fact that you get pissed off so easily starts to piss you off even more. And then, in your petty rage, you realize that being angry all the time makes you a shallow and mean person. And you hate this. You hate it so much that you get angry at yourself. Now look at you. You're angry at yourself about being angry about being angry. You're angry at yourself getting angry about being angry. Fuck you all here. Have a fist. Well, you're so worried about doing the right thing all the time that you become worried about how much you're worrying. Well, you feel so guilty for every mistake that you make. You begin to feel guilty about how guilty you're feeling. Wow. That's a lot to say. Or you get sad and alone so often that it makes you feel even more sad and alone just thinking about it. Welcome to the feedback loop from hell. Chances are you've engaged in it more than a few times. Maybe you're engaging in it right now. God, I do the feedback loop all the time. I'm such a loser for doing it. I should stop. Oh my God, I feel like such a loser for calling myself a loser. I should stop calling myself a loser. Ah, fuck! I'm doing it again. See? I'm a loser. Calm down, amigo. Believe it or not, this is part of the beauty of being human. Very few animals on Earth have the ability to think cogent thoughts to begin with, but we humans have the luxury of being able to have thoughts about our thoughts. So I can think about watching Miley Cyrus videos on YouTube and then immediately think about what a sicko I am for wanting to watch Miley Cyrus videos on YouTube. Very deranged indeed. Ah, the miracle of consciousness. Now here's the problem. Our society today, through the wonders of consumer culture and hey, look, my life is cooler than yours, social media, has bred a whole generation of people who believe that not having these negative experiences, anxiety, fear, guilt, etc., is who believe that having these negative experiences is totally not okay. I mean, if you look at your Facebook feed, everybody there is having a fucking grand old time. Look, 8 people got married this week, and some 16-year-old on TV got a Ferrari for her birthday. And another kid just made $2 billion inventing an app that automatically delivers you more toilet paper when you run out. Meanwhile, you're stuck at home flossing your cat, and you can't help but think your life sucks even more than you thought. I feel, honestly, that I see in today's day and age a lot less of the chasing social media influencer culture thing. That was a thing. This book was written in, I think, 2016. And it was a big fucking deal back then. Like, everybody wanted to be their favorite social media influencer. Now everybody's realizing that they are their favorite social media influencer. And I don't know, I might just be out of the cultural loop because I'm old, but I just don't see as much of that happening. I just see people actually going out there and doing the fucking stupid things, which is another level of this same problem all by itself. But I think a lot of that comes from this same shit, like the fucking antics of people these days who absolutely just need attention so desperately that they will do the stupidest things. The feedback loop from hell has become a borderline epidemic, making many of us overly stressed, overly neurotic, and overly self loathing. Back in Grandpa's day, he would feel like shit and thinks to himself, gee whiz, I sure do feel like a cow turd today. But hey, that's life. Back to shoveling shit. But now, if you feel like shit for even 5 minutes, you're bombarded with 350 images of people totally happy and having amazing fucking lives. And it's impossible not to feel like there's something wrong with you. Well, first of all, put the phone down, dummy. Go look around at real life and see people outside of your little magic lens, and you'll see that everything is just the same as you. Castro said, smash the like harder, bigots. I don't condone telling people what to do. If you like what I do here, if you enjoy the content, whether it be my gaming shit or when I get up with my microphone and just do things that I give my opinions on, smash the like. If you hate me, you hate my guts, and you think I'm the worst ever, there's another button for that. If you have no real opinion whatsoever, just go ahead and subscribe until you've made a decision and then share this out with everybody else so they can come and experience it as well. Because sharing it out would be really cool. Like, I need to know new people. Castro says, do what I say. I do regret to inform my audience that according to the current cultural social trends, if you disagree with Castro, that does justify him to use violence against you, very violence against you. So don't disagree with Castro, please. We don't like it. And don't touch the boats. It's the last part that gets us into trouble. We feel bad about feeling bad. We feel guilty for feeling guilty. I don't do this. I don't know. I'm not sure I ever did this. I mean, I might have gotten into some feedback loops from hell, like get angry about getting angry. I might do that one, and I might get anxious about feeling anxious. No, I don't do that one. I do get angry about getting angry. What is wrong with me? Um, that's a lot. It's a lot. This is why not giving a fuck is so key. This is why it's going to save the fucking world. And it's going to save it by accepting that the world is totally fucked and that's alright. Where'd you go? Dang it. Because it's always been that way. I've been telling people this for a while. And it always will be that way. That is the one thing I've been, like, consistent about for quite some time now is throughout all the books that I've covered, like, this shit's been pretty fucked thousands of years ago or today. It doesn't specifically matter what timeline, the fundamental truths of these things don't change. By not giving a fuck that you feel bad, you short circuit the feedback loop from hell. You say to yourself, I feel like shit, but who gives a fuck? And then, as if sprinkled by magic fuck giving fairy dust, you stop hating yourself for feeling so bad. George Orwell said that to see what's in front of one's nose requires a constant struggle. Well, the solution to our stress and anxiety is right there in front of our noses. And we're too busy watching porn and advertisements for ab machines that don't work, wondering why we're not banging a hot blonde with a rockin' six-pack to notice. We joke online about first world problems, but we really have become victims of our own success. It's funny because in 2025, I see people bitching about the most inane fucking first world problems you could fucking imagine. It's like, how the hell do any of you give a shit about any of this? It's so fucking irrelevant, especially giving a fuck about, like, hating other people for their opinions. I'm just gonna throw that out there, like, man, I have enough time managing what I really have as my own opinions to hate someone else for theirs. Like, I really would like to know your opinion so that I can get a good idea of why my opinion is what it is. Stress-related health issues, anxiety disorders, and cases of depression have skyrocketed over the past 30 years. And I do believe that is because we have no real struggle. Hey, Samantha Marinog followed the channel. Awkward. Didn't know you didn't follow before, but thanks, Sam, for following the channel. I did promise. I did promise. Not Sam. All of y'all. All of y'all. I'm gonna have a break here for a second. Go to the Rumble. I'm gonna go to the Craig Allen Og. You see the Craig Allen Og? You see him? Yeah. Where? Oh, he's over there. Craig Allen Og. You go to the channels page of the Craig Allen Og and give these channels a follow so he can reserve his username. Because someone is desperately trying to steal all of Craig Allen Og's usernames. We don't approve of that. Not around here. This has been your PSA to represent the Craig Allenog. Please help him get to 10 followers so he can reserve his Rumble username. This has been public service. Thank you, and now returning to our regularly scheduled program. Stress-related health issues, anxiety disorders, and cases of depression have skyrocketed over the past 30 years, despite the fact that everyone has a flat-screen TV and can have their groceries delivered. Our crisis is no longer material, it's existential. It's spiritual. This right here hits so much harder today than it did the first time I ever read this book, because most of you know, like, I have developed a close personal relationship with Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. But the first time I read this, I really didn't have a relationship with Jesus. I didn't realize how just outrageously spiritual battle, the crisis that we are facing as a society really was. And I mean, if you really want to talk about the ultimate hack for not giving a fuck about any of this, like, even shit that is immediate and true and important, God's got full control of all of it. And I don't want to get this stream too derailed into the sermon zone, but I'm just. We have so much fucking stuff and so many opportunities that we don't even know what to give a fuck about anymore. And that's, I kind of think. The Craig Allenog, thank you. Reposted, thank you, sir, Mr. Craig. Everybody gotta go check out the Craig Allen OG. Even, not just to help him secure his stuff, but his show is pretty funny. He does a pretty good variety of things that he covers when he does his stuff, and Craig is a very interesting fella, and is also a stony homie. Oh my goodness, you guys woke Streambot up. Good, good job, Castro. Way to go. Because there's an infinite amount of things we can now see or know, there are also an infinite number of ways that we can discover that we don't measure up, that we're not good enough, that things aren't as great as they could be. And this rips us apart inside. Because here's the thing that's wrong with all of the how to be happy shit that's been shared 8 million times on Facebook in the past few years. Here's what nobody realizes about all of this crap. The desire for more positive experience is itself a negative experience. And paradoxically, the acceptance of one's negative experience is itself a positive experience. I mean, I'm not in the chat, Sam. I don't have any points here. I haven't really even set up Streambot to do anything, so Yeah, I know. That's me. The lazy. Oh, the stream bot is the lazy motherfucker. Uh, Wait till you get to level 100. I'm gonna need to maybe, maybe hire some new mods. Who knows? But anyway, feedback loop from hell and positive experiences. Like, if you do as it says in the Fight Club quote, if you do chase all these things, all these experiences, all this better, 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 more, 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 it will drive you miserably insane not being able to get everything your little heart desires. But if you just accept that, you're not going to. It makes everything that you do have just that much sweeter because you can actually appreciate the life you do have. Keep in mind that for every person that has it better than you, there's probably 20 people who have it worse than you. Maybe even more than that. Like, most of us that are listening to this broadcast or that will ever listen to this broadcast have the luxury of living in a first world country, and most of the world does not. So most people live in third world shitholes and some eat dirt cookies. Your life could always be so much worse. Even the homeless people in our country have it better than most of the world. It's total mind fuck. But you really do have to, like, stop chasing so much more and look at, like, what you have, where you are, why it's all okay. I mean, if you have your health, you have your freedom, and you have your shit, the shit you do have. I mean, not the shit you're chasing, but what else do you really need? Anyway, he says this is a total mindfuck. It's really not that much of a mindfuck at all. So he'll give us a minute to unpretzel your brain and maybe read that again. Wanting positive experience is a negative experience. Accepting negative experience is a positive experience. It's what the philosopher Alan Watts used to refer to as the backwards law. The idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. My psychotic brother thinks this is the worst, most corrupt country on earth and has never been anywhere. I've been in 33 countries. I have a younger sibling whose birthday it is today. Shout out to M, who is a communist and thinks that this is the most corrupt. I mean, if this is the most corrupt country on earth, it is only because we have more government than any other country on earth, so we have more room for corruption than any other country on earth. But I don't think. I don't think it is more corrupt than most countries on earth. I mean, it is very corrupt. And we do have a lot of government and a lot of room for corruption. We have corruption all the way up and down at every level, but if you look at like places like Venezuela and you look at places like North Korea and you look at places like China, I mean, you would really have to define corruption. Eminem is not my brother. Uh, my younger sibling, which is a they them, respectfully speaking. Emerson is not Eminem. Eminem is a different person entirely. I'm not gonna get into my communist. Eminem's different communist though. I don't think he's a real communist because rich people they don't rich people don't get to lecture me about institutional, fucking nothing. Piss off. Where the fuck was I? Hmm. The more you desperately want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel. Regardless of how much money you actually make, the more you desperately want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. I mean, if you look at people who are actually super fucking rich and super fucking successful, it was never to make money. Double bowl time, triple bowl time, man, Craig, man. But people who are super wealthy, the Jeff Bezoses, the Bill Gateses, the Elon Musks, their first thought was that I want to make millions and trillions of dollars. Their first thought was I want to change the world. And I have this idea of how to change the world. And that's what really gets you to the top, is being passionate about the thing you're doing and doing a thing either that no one else has ever done that revolutionizes and changes the world, and or doing a thing better than anyone else ever has in the history of the more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and oh wait, the more you want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there. It's like this one time I tripped on acid, and it felt like the more I walked toward a house, the farther away the house got from me. And yes, I just used my LSD hallucinations to make a philosophical point about happiness. No fucks given. Mark Manson clearly does not give a fuck, which is why his writing style just hit so absolutely perfectly. Bong back, bong 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 bong. My bong is clogged. Did you hear it? You probably didn't hear it because it's clogged. Clogged terribly. Bong ba bong 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 ba bong bong bong. Bring back bong bong bong. Hold up. I don't know why my bong is so clogged, but it is. How about now? See, I'm giving a fuck about things I shouldn't be giving a fuck about right now. You're ruining the whole show, sir. And you're on YouTube, so you better watch your P's and Q's. Bye, dude. As the existential philosopher Albert Camus said, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't on LSD at the time, you will never be happy if you continue to search for what happiness consists of. You will never live if you are looking for the meaning of life. One more, simply put, don't try. Now I know what you're saying, Mark. This is making my nipples all hard. But what about the Camaro I've been saving up for? What about the beach body I've been starving myself for? After all, I paid a lot of money for that ab machine. What about the big house on the lake I've been dreaming of? If I stop giving a fuck about those things, well, then I'll never achieve anything. I don't want that to happen, do I? That's a good point. So glad you asked. Ever notice that sometimes when you care less about something, you do better at it? Notice how it's often the person who is the least invested in the success of something that actually ends up achieving it? Notice how sometimes when you stop giving a fuck, everything seems to fall into place? What's with that? What's interesting about the backwards law is that it's called backwards for a reason. Not giving a fuck works in reverse. If pursuing the positive is a negative, then pursuing the negative generates the positive. The pain you pursue in the gym results in better all around health and energy. The failures in business are what lead to a better understanding of what's necessary to be successful. Being open about your insecurities paradoxically makes you more confident and charismatic around others. The pain of honest confrontation is what generates the greatest trust and respect in your relationships. Suffering through your fears and anxieties is what allows you to build courage and perseverance. There's a good book from a famous rock climber. I'll have to look for it. If you're stuck, don't force the move. Let the move come to you. I mean, that's literally best case on most things because the harder you try to force, it's like the Chinese finger trap, you know? The harder you try to force it, the tighter it's going to get on you. But if you just relax, bring it together, don't try to force it, and out you go. Just gotta chill. Stop trying to make things work and just let them work. Seriously, I could keep going, but you get the point. Everything worthwhile in life is won through surmounting the associated negative experience. Any attempt to escape the negative, to avoid it, or quash it, or silence it only backfires. The only way out is through. The avoidance of suffering is a form of suffering, and the avoidance of struggle is a struggle. The denial of failure is failure. Hiding what is shameful is shame. It's shame itself. Dan Osmond, I don't know. I don't think I've ever read a book from a rock climber before, so pain is an inextricable thread in the fabric of life, and to tear it out is not only impossible, but destructive. Attempting to tear it out unravels everything else with it. to try to avoid pain is to give too many fucks about pain. In contrast, if you're not able to give a fuck about the pain, you become unstoppable. And he really means it. And most people can't take the pain, so they just give up when the pain starts. That is a natural, a very human response to pain is to just, when the going get tough, we realize we're not tough and we just give up and go do something else. Because there's a million other things we could be doing right now, and this thing fucking sucks and this thing is hard. In my life, I have given a fuck about many things. I have also not given a fuck about many things, and like the road not taken, it was the fucks not given that made all the difference. Chances are you know somebody in your life who at one time or another did not give a fuck and then went on to accomplish amazing feats. I mean, I won't lie. There's somebody in this very chat with us right now who I met when he had like 200 followers, and I thought he was a goofy son bitch. I didn't think he had the chops to do this. I'm talking about Cool Frog. By all by all metrics, I did not think he would ever make anything of his channel. This motherfucker has well over 2,000 followers on Rumble alone today, and has somewhere near 1,000 still on YouTube that he doesn't really stream to anymore because he ain't with that. But he didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck what I thought. He didn't give a fuck what anybody thought. And I was not the only detractor who was like, yeah, right. You ain't never gonna make nothing out of it. He's still growing. He's still getting better and better. He doesn't give a fuck at all. He's just gonna do it because it's what he wants to do, and that's what he gives a fuck about. So fuck your opinion and fuck what you got to say. Go check out Cool Frog. He's come a long way. There's a million billion things he'd rather fucking do than be fucking with you. uh, Facts, fam, facts. 2096. That's a and climbing every day. Eventually, this motherfucker's gonna break out. He's doing way better at this than I ever will. Perhaps there was a time in your own life when you simply did not give a fuck and excelled to some extraordinary height. For myself, quitting my day job in finance after only 6 weeks to start an internet business ranks pretty high up there in my own didn't give a fuck Hall of Fame. Same with deciding to sell most of my possessions and move to South America. Fucks given zero. Just went and did it. These moments of non-fuckery are the moments that most define our life. The major switch in careers, a spontaneous choice to drop out of college and join a rock band, the decision to finally dump that deadbeat boyfriend whom you caught wearing your pantyhose a few too many times. Awkward. To not give a fuck is to stare down life's most terrifying and difficult challenges and still take action. And that is the thing that I struggled with for until I didn't give a fuck anymore, was like allowing my anxiety and fear of taking action, a lot of fear of rejection, to not allow me to act on anything, because like fear of failure and fear of rejection are overwhelmingly negative, and you just have to embrace the fact that you have to face down the negative. While not giving a fuck may seem simple on the surface, it's a whole new bag of burritos under the hood. I don't even know what that sentence means. but I don't give a fuck. A bag of burritos sounds awesome, so let's just go with it. Most of us struggle throughout our lives by giving too many fucks in situations where fucks do not deserve to be given. I'm guilty of this personally. And anyone sitting in here who has ever seen me before probably already knows this. I'll give fucks and get upset by some dumb shit sometimes. It's been worse lately, you know. Quitting smoking the cigarettes is not an excuse at this point, but man, oh man, ever since I have, my fucking fuck giving meter's been off the charts, and my like inability to control the fucks I give has been just wacky. It's been shit. Working on it. Working on it. Most of us struggle throughout our lives by giving too many fucks in I just read this. Uh, we give too many fucks about the rude gas station attendant who gave us our change in nickels. We give too many fucks when a show we liked was canceled on TV. We give too many fucks when our coworkers don't bother asking us about our awesome weekend. Meanwhile, our credit cards are maxed out, our dog hates us, and Junior is snorting meth in the bathroom. Yet we're pissed off about Nichols and everybody loves Raymond. Look, this is how it works. You're going to die one day. You are. You're going to die one day. I know that's kind of obvious, but I just wanted to remind you in case you'd forgotten, and a lot of people do seem to forget, that you're only here for the time you're here for. Nobody lives forever. Not even Henry Kissinger. You and everyone you know are going to be dead soon. Yeah, fuck Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond. No one give a damn about no Raymond. Because you have a very limited time here on this earth. And in the short amount of time between here and there, you have a very limited amount of fucks that you can give. Very few, in fact. Like, it's such a short, short span, the human life. Even the longest human life is so incredibly short in the grand scheme of time. Soros isn't even that fucking old, dude. He's only like 80. He just looks like he's like fucking 187 because he's a ghoul. He's a literal demon goblin. And if you go around giving a fuck about everything and everyone without conscious thought or choice, well, then you're going to get fucked. And I've seen people get caught up in this fuckery far too many times. I think we all do it. I mean, I think at some point, somewhere, we all. Oh, he's 95. Well, he just looks like he's 1006. I didn't know. I didn't know. I just made that part about him being 80 up. Yeah, everybody knows how old Soros is. His kid's probably 80. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck because Soros. There's always going to be another Soros, right? There's always going to be another bad guy that we have to watch out for. This is just the current one. So many people don't know about that guy. But he's relatively relevant. Yeah, I know. I'm supposed to give a fuck. Mousy doesn't even watch TV. She doesn't even know who George Soros is, and she lives a probably much more fulfilling life than I do because I might be a touch terminally online like a lot of my friends who might be a touch terminally online, and riddled with far too much anxiety because we're supposed to give a fuck. I do give a fuck, but I try to give a fuck a lot more locally because if people did give a fuck more locally, the people who try to control everyone globally would have no power whatsoever because we here at home decide that they get nothing. They lose. Good day, sir. But these are the very same people that are working tirelessly day and night to convince you to give all types of fucks about all the things they want you to give a fuck about and only what they want you to give a fuck about. But there is a subtle art to not giving a fuck. And though the concept may sound ridiculous and I may sound like an asshole, I've always kind of sounded like an asshole. I've had a hard time ever giving a fuck. What I'm talking about here is essentially learning how to focus and prioritize your thoughts effectively. How to pick and choose what matters to you and what does not matter to you based on finely honed personal values. This is incredibly difficult. It takes a lifetime of practice and discipline to achieve, and you will regularly fail. But it is perhaps the most worthy struggle one can undertake in one's life. It is perhaps the only struggle in one's life. And I did allude earlier to a giant, giant, giant cheat code that Mark Manson does absolutely neglect in this book. And it's this book right here. Y'all. Y'all know what I got. Study Bible. Big, thick. Spend time with Jesus, y'all. I'm not even joking. Like, do not take it from me. Go spend time with Jesus and pray and things like that. With your sincerest heart. You'll be very fucking surprised. Very fucking surprised at the peace that you will find and the fucks you will begin to fail to give. Because when you give too many fucks, when you give a fuck about everyone and everything, you will feel that you're perpetually entitled to be comfortable and happy at all times, and that everything is supposed to be just exactly the fucking way you want it to be. This is a sickness, and it will eat you alive. You will see every adversity as an injustice, every challenge as a failure, every inconvenience as a personal slight, every disagreement as a betrayal. You will be confined to your own petty skull-sized hell, burning with entitlement and bluster, running circles around your very own personal feedback loop from hell, in constant motion, yet arriving nowhere. And what a fucking terrible trap to be caught up in, because most of the time when you are in the feedback loop from hell, you do not have a single fucking clue how deep in it you really are. It takes a lot of self-reflection to step back and look at the world not as you want it to be, but as it actually is. In every situation in it that may be giving you trouble, not for what you would like it to be or what you believe it should be or what you think you deserve it to be, but what it is. The subtle art of not giving a fuck. When most people envision giving no fucks whatsoever, they imagine a kind of serene indifference to everything. A calm that weathers all storms. They imagine and aspire to be a person who is shaken by nothing and caves into no one, like a Buddhist monk who has achieved supreme bodhicitta. There's a name for a person who finds no emotion or meaning in anything. A psychopath. Why would you want to emulate a psychopath? I have no fucking clue. So what does not giving a fuck mean? Let's look at 3 subtleties that should help clarify the matter. Everybody got their notebooks ready? Subtlety number 1. Not giving a fuck does not mean being indifferent. It means being comfortable with being different. Let's be clear. There's absolutely nothing admirable or confident about indifference. People who are indifferent are lame and scared. They're couch potatoes and internet trolls. In fact, indifferent people often attempt to be indifferent because in reality they give way too many fucks. You know, the nonchalance act of indifference. They give a fuck about what everyone thinks of their hair, so they never bother washing or combing it. They give a fuck about what everyone thinks of their ideas, so they hide behind sarcasm and self-righteous snark. Maybe that's just the way they are. I'm feeling personally attacked again. They're afraid to let anyone get close to them, so they imagine themselves as some special, unique snowflake who has problems that nobody else would ever understand. Cat. Boondock Saints. Another type of evil, the indifference of good men. Indifferent people are afraid of the world and the repercussions of their own choices. That's why they don't make any meaningful choices. They hide in a gray, emotionless pit of their own making, self-absorbed and self-pitying, perpetually distracting themselves from this unfortunate thing demanding their time and energy called life. Because here's a sneaky truth about life. There's no such thing as not giving a fuck. You must give a fuck about something. It's part of our biology to always care about something, and therefore to always give a fuck. The question then is, what do we give a fuck about? What are we choosing to give a fuck about? And how can we not give a fuck about what ultimately does not matter? My mother was recently screwed out of a large chunk of money by a close friend of hers. Had I been indifferent, I would have shrugged my shoulders, sipped my mocha, and downloaded another season of The Wire. Sorry, Mom. But instead, I was indignant. I was pissed off. I said, no, screw that, Mom. We're going to lawyer the fuck up and go after this asshole. Why? Because I don't give a fuck. I will ruin this guy's life if I have to. This illustrates the first subtlety of not giving a fuck. When we say, damn, watch out, Mark Manson just doesn't give a fuck, We don't mean that Mark Manson doesn't care about anything. On the contrary, we mean that Mark Manson doesn't care about adversity in the face of his goals. He doesn't care about pissing some people off to do what he feels is right, or important, or noble. We mean that Mark Manson is the type of guy who would write about himself in the third person just because he thought it was the right thing to do. He just does not give a fuck. Shout out to Mark Manson for that that self promo right in the book. Like, it's an admirable thing to do. And this is what is so admirable. No, not me, dumbass. The overcoming adversity stuff. The willingness to be different, an outcast, a pariah for all for the sake of one's own values. The willingness to stare failure in the face and shove your middle finger back at it. The people who don't give a fuck about adversity or failure or embarrassing themselves or shitting the bed a few times. The people who just laugh and then do what they believe in anyway. Because they know it's right. They know it's more important than they are. More important than their own feelings and their own pride and their own ego. They say fuck it not to everything in their life, but rather to everything unimportant in life. They reserve their fucks for what truly matters: friends, family, purpose, burritos, and an occasional lawsuit or two. Especially burritos, though. It's actually, I think, one of our cultural issues. One of the biggest ones is this right here. We have lost this, which has caused the degradation of this, and this, and this. And because of that, because they reserve their fucks for only the big things that matter, people give a fuck about them in return. Because here's another sneaky little truth about life. You can't be an important and life-changing presence for some people without also being a joke and an embarrassment to others. You just can't. Because there's no such thing as a lack of adversity. It doesn't exist. The old saying goes that no matter where you go, there you are. Well, the same is true for adversity and failure. Oh, that's the thing with Streambot. Suble. You got points. Can you make a healthy ass burrito though? I'm gonna leave that up to you, Frog, because I'm not gonna focus on the healthy burrito nearly as much. Burritos are a degradation in society. The old saying goes that no matter where you go, there you are. Well, the same is true for adversity and failure. No matter where you go, there's a 500-pound load of shit waiting for you there. And that's perfectly fine. The point isn't to get away from the shit. The point is to find the shit you enjoy dealing with. And maybe enjoy is a little strong word, but maybe can be content dealing with is a better way to phrase that. Cheers. I mean, life is unhealthy. It's going to kill you. If you give too much fucks about being the healthy fella, you will be the healthiest corpse in the morgue at one point in time. So, some people will give a bigger fuck than others. And some people don't want to be 300 pounds ever again, so they've chosen to make that something to give a fuck about. Subtlety number 2. To not give a fuck about adversity, you must first give a fuck about something more important than adversity. The fuck is that even supposed to mean? I mean, adversity is just the thing impeding you in what you give a fuck about. Imagine you're at a grocery store and you watch an elderly lady scream at the cashier, berating him for not accepting her 30-cent coupon. Why does this lady give a fuck? It's just 30 cents. I will tell you why. That lady probably doesn't have anything better to do with her days than to sit at home cutting out coupons. She's old and lonely. Her kids are dickheads and never visit. She hasn't had sex in over 30 years. She can't fart without extreme lower back pain. Her pension is on its last legs, and she's probably going to die in a diaper thinking she's in Candyland. So she snips her coupons. It's all she's got. It's her and her damn coupons. It's all she can give a fuck about because there is nothing else to give a fuck about. And so, when the pimply-faced 17-year-old cashier refuses to accept one of them, when he defends his cash register's purity the way knights used to defend maidens' virginity, you can bet Granny is going to erupt. 80 years of fucks will rain down all at once like a fiery hailstorm of back in my day, and people used to show more respect stories. The problem with people who hand out fucks like ice cream at a goddamn summer camp is that they don't have anything more fuck worthy to dedicate their fucks to. If you find yourself consistently giving too many fucks about trivial shit that bothers you, your ex-boyfriend's new Facebook picture, how quickly the batteries die in the TV remote, missing out on yet another 2-for-1 sale on hand sanitizer, Jacob Castro leaving the stream before the stream is even over. Chances are, you don't have much going on in your life to give a legitimate fuck about. And that's your real problem. Take care, Castro. I'll catch you later, my dude. Not the hand sanitizer. Not the TV remote. I once heard an artist say that when a person has no problems, the mind automatically finds a way to invent some. Pump the brakes. That's another thing you can put in your list of notes. I feel like a lot of the shit that we give a fuck about that is truly not fuck worthy is a result of us not having any real adversity, any real struggles, any real problems. So we do, yes, we do make them up. If you have nothing to give a fuck about, your psyche will try to create problems out of nothing. I once heard an artist say that when a person has no problems, mind automatically finds. I think what most people, especially educated, pampered, middle-class white people, ooh, shots fired, consider life problems are really just side effects of not having anything more important to worry about. I think he's right. I think I've said this for a while too. It then follows that finding something important and meaningful in your life is perhaps the most productive use of your time and energy. And here's a little key. What may be important to me may not be the thing that's important to you, and vice versa. Find what's important to you to give a fuck about. Don't worry about what other people are giving a fuck about unless there is a reason to. Worry about what you give a fuck about. That'll be the key to success and happiness. It then follows that finding something more important and meaningful in your life is perhaps the most productive use of your time and energy, because if you don't find that meaningful something, your fucks will be given to meaningless and frivolous nothing. Subtlety number 3. Whether you realize it or not, you are always choosing what to give a fuck about. Because you're not a sociopath. You have to give a fuck about something. And if you're not consciously aware of what you're doing in the situation, you can find yourself giving way too much of a fuck. I've done it probably a dozen times in the last week alone. Just giving way too much of a fuck about some shit that I think about it 5 seconds later. It's like, damn, why the fuck did I even care? I let shit affect me that should not ever affect me. What am I doing here? Subtlety number 3. People aren't just born not giving a fuck. In fact, we're born giving way too many fucks. Ever watch a kid cry his eyes out because his hat is the wrong shade of blue? Exactly. Fuck that kid. When we're young, everything is new and exciting, and everything seems to matter so much more. Therefore, we give tons of fucks. We give a fuck about everything and everyone, about what people are saying about us, about whether that cute boy or girl called us back or not, about whether our socks match or not, about what color our birthday balloon is. As we get older, with the benefit of experience, and having seen so much time slip by, we begin to notice that most of these sorts of things have little lasting impact on our lives. Those people whose opinions we cared about so much before are no longer present in our lives. Rejections that were painful in the moment have actually worked out for the best. We realize how little attention people pay to the superficial details about us, and we choose not to obsess so much over them. Essentially, we become more selective about the fucks we're willing to give. This is something called maturity. It's nice. I should try it sometime. Maturity is what happens when one learns to only give a fuck about what's truly fuck worthy. As Bunk Moreland said to his partner Detective McNulty in The Wire, which, fuck you, I still downloaded, that's what you get for giving a fuck when it wasn't your turn to give a fuck. Then, as we get older and enter middle age, something else begins to change. Our energy level drops. Our identity solidifies. We know who we are and we accept ourselves. Put a pin in that one real quick. Including some of the parts we aren't thrilled about. Okay, coming back to that pin. I find that that's more and more not the case these days. People just live in a delusion where if there's something unpleasant about yourself and you have to face it, you just do everything you can to ignore it and hope it magically, miraculously goes away, but doesn't. It just sits with you and stays with you forever and ever and ever. Uh, and in a strange way, this is liberating. We no longer need to give a fuck about everything. Life just is what it is. We accept it, warts and all. We realize that we're never going to cure cancer or go to the moon or feel Jennifer Aniston's tits. Still salty about that last one. And that's okay. Life goes on. We now reserve our ever dwindling fucks for the most truly fuckworthy parts of our lives. Our families, our best friends, our golf swing, and to our astonishment, this is enough. This simplification actually makes us really fucking happy on a consistent basis, and we start to think maybe that crazy alcoholic Bukowski was onto something. Don't try. I don't know. I still find myself in the feedback loop from hell all the time. So, Mark, what the fuck is the point of this book anyway? This book will help you think a little more clearly about what you're choosing to find important in life and what you're choosing to find unimportant. I believe that today we're facing a psychological epidemic, one in which people no longer realize it's okay for things to suck sometimes. I know that sounds intellectually lazy on the surface, but I promise you it's a life or death sort of issue. And the reason I chose to pull this book back out and cover this one now is because this is about 10 years old now, and it's getting so much worse, and people are so well out of their mind and just dysgenic and disjointed and dystopian. It's going fucking crazy. And people need to just, like, really accept that life is going to be life and it's going to suck and it's okay and you'll get through it. Everyone's going to get through it. Like, nothing that you're worrying about is probably going to kill you today. So why are you worrying so hard about it? Like, you're going to get up tomorrow and you're going to do today again tomorrow. Like, why be burdened with all that worry and all that anxiety? Because when we believe that it's not okay for things to suck sometimes, then we unconsciously start blaming ourselves. We start to feel as though something is inherently wrong with us, which drives us to all sorts of overcompensation, like buying 40 pairs of shoes or downing Xanax with a vodka chaser on a Tuesday night, or, man, I'm on YouTube. Mark, I am literally on YouTube shooting up a school bus full of kids. Sorry, YouTube. This belief, it's not okay. No one endorses that last bit. Mark Manson wrote that shit in here to fucking try to get my YouTube account suspended. I swear that's what this is about. This belief that it's not okay to be inadequate sometimes is the source of the growing feedback loop from hell that is coming to dominate our culture. The idea of not giving a fuck is a simple way of reorienting our expectations for life and choosing what is important and what is not. Developing this ability for life and choosing what is. Developing this ability leads to something I like to think of as a kind of practical enlightenment. Not that airy, fairy, eternal bliss, end of all suffering bullshit kind of enlightenment. On the contrary, I see practical enlightenment as becoming comfortable with the idea that some suffering is always inevitable. You didn't need to put always in there. Inevitable and always mean the exact same thing, just for the record. That no matter what you do, life is comprised of failures, loss, regrets, and even death. And that shit's inevitable, like all of this shit. Because once you become comfortable with all the shit that life throws at you, and it will throw a lot of shit at you, trust me, which is funny because I don't think Mark Manson's that much older than me. I've been doing this shit for 40 years and life has thrown all types of shit at me. I know people my age who life has thrown way more shit at. I know people younger than me who have seen way more shit. It's like I can't begin to imagine how much shit Mr. Manson has actually seen, but there are people out there who see so much more shit than most of us do. It's kind of insane what life will throw at you. You become invincible in a sort of low-level spiritual way. After all, the only way to overcome pain is to first learn how to bear it. This book doesn't give a fuck about alleviating your problems or your pain. And that is precisely why you will know it is being honest. This book is not some guide to greatness. It couldn't be. Because greatness is merely an illusion in our minds, a made up destination that we obligate ourselves to pursue, our own psychological Atlantis. Instead, this book will turn your pain into a tool, your trauma into power, and your problems into slightly better problems. That is real progress. Think of it as a guide to suffering and how to do it better, more meaningfully, with more compassion and more humility. It's a book about moving lightly despite your heavy burdens, resting easier with your greatest fears, laughing at your tears as you cry them. I mean, this book ain't gonna have you do any of that shit. You have to do all that shit on your own. This book just gonna show you maybe the way to process all this crap. This book will not teach you how to gain or achieve, but rather how to lose and let go. It will teach you how to take inventory of your life and scrub out all but the most important items. It will teach you to close your eyes and trust that you can fall backwards and still be okay. It will teach you to give fewer fucks. It will teach you to not try. Interesting. It's a book. You notice how he said way back at the very beginning that this shit is very difficult and it takes a lifetime of practice to master? Yeah. Doing it on your own? Probably not. But can it be done with vigilance? Can you live a better life by not giving a fuck? Absolutely. Because who is richer? The man who has everything or the man who wants nothing? And when you realize that those two people are the same, then it doesn't matter. Because as long as you want for nothing, you have everything. Anyway, that was chapter 1. of the subtle art of not giving a fuck. The deeper into this we go, the more detailed the analysis will be. Kinda shady. Saying hey because I couldn't hear you. I guess I have an earring function, but I couldn't finger it out. I don't know, man. That's kind of shady. What's up, and welcome to the party here at the here at the end of this. But anyway, I don't know when next time we're gonna be going live with chapter 2 is. I'm thinking I like the idea of tomorrow. There's 9 different chapters in the book. I think 9 installments should be sufficient to cover all of it. They're all going to be about this long, maybe a little longer. Like I said, the analysis will get more in depth as his analysis and breakdowns get more in depth, but this was kind of just an introduction to the concept of not giving a fuck. And yeah, it's a lot more work than you would think just at an initial glance. But it is manageable, and it really, really, really does help not worrying about shit. Because the shit is not important enough to worry about. So I want to thank you all for coming and not giving a fuck about the fact that it's the low effort vibe stream. I appreciate each and every one of you. Everyone who came on everyone who came on YouTube. Lady Autumn Sky, Clumsy, Miami Spice, Shady, you know. Uh, Everyone in the Rumble crowd, shout out. Smash the like button if you loved it. You know what to do if you hated it. All the things. I'll probably see you guys tomorrow. You should probably turn on the notifications so that you know what time, because I'm not entirely sure when yet, but if not tomorrow, we'll talk about this on Saturday for sure. Thank you all for coming. Anyone have any idea if there's anyone live on Rumble that we can raid out to? Okay. Yep, I do see. uh, oh my goodness. Anyway, we're gonna go raid Base Stoner, I think. If y'all don't know, Base Stoner is the homie. Can't say nothing about the YouTube channel. We don't have rating available to us just yet over there. So, without further ado, it'll be adios muchachos for the folks on YouTube, and for the folks on the Rumble side. It's the Tub-Based Stoner. I said, what's up? Follow my Rumble channel, follow the channel on YouTube, do all the things, and I will see you guys in the next installment